I hope everybody enjoyed the coffee break and welcome back. So we will continue with our second session, and we are now turning to regulatory and legal landscape, where compliance has become the commercial necessity. And our next speaker is Martina Meinders, Managing Director of Marin Shipmanagement. So please give a very warm welcome to her. And
I realize that a lot of speakers have something red on, Laura, me, so I hope it's okay. I will wake you up with a small video, which please start playing.
The maritime industry is changing, and fast. At RightShip, we're not just keeping up, we're leading the transformation. For over 2 decades, RightShip has been trusted to deliver the insights that drive safer, smarter decisions. But as the world moves faster, we're reimagining what's possible. Imagine a future where risk management is effortless, where efficiency and productivity don't compromise safety and sustainability. A future where insights aren't requested, they're always available. And a future where technology and human expertise work together to unlock new levels of safety, efficiency, and commercial advantage. At the heart of our vision lies a powerful idea, creating a more connected ecosystem that unlocks efficiency and cost savings, while inherently elevating safety and sustainability across the maritime industry. Across the industry, stakeholders rely on RightShip in different ways. Charterers, ports, and terminals depend on credible data and our experts to manage risks and make informed decisions faster than ever. On the other hand, ship owners and managers seek tools and insights to improve fleet competitiveness and operational readiness. But today's processes...
I think I can say now good afternoon already after the coffee break. I'm sure that the short introduction and the video of RightShip is well known to most of you, and they have quite a number of other very supportive videos which are helping how to see RightShip and to see the use of RightShip in the global industry. RightShip is a very powerful word, RightShip, and yes, it's a regulatory sheet for the maritime industry by assisting with the digital maritime platform to drive the operational improvement in the global shipping industry. Most of us want to have the right ship. We, either as a ship owner, as a ship manager, as a seafarer, or to be a charterer, we want to have the right ship to charter in, to have it offered to the public, and to be as well right with our crew on board. A not right ship, as we all know, can cost life, will harm the environment, and is not sustainable in the global maritime industry. We, all together, as players in this industry, have to assist to minimize the risk associated with the global trade. RightShip believes in a zero-harm maritime industry, of which we are part, and it is our obligation to support this belief. The RightShip inspection is not a paperwork event. It should serve as a protective shield around the vessel's condition, crew competence, welfare, and commercial assurance. This presentation will assist how to build up this protective shield and hopefully reach the standard of a RightShip. The RightShip tools operate like a risk radar. The actual shield is the visibility, the credibility, and the continuity. This is formed by preparation, crew participation, evidence, welfare actions, and disciplined corrective actions. RightShip describes their questionnaire as nothing more than an enhancing inspection consistency, and it is verifying the safety management system which we a shipping company have against this system: the condition and the crew familiarity. RightShip makes weak barriers visible, and they become incidents. Before they become incidents, detention, injuries, and welfare failures. The core message is that inspections do not create safety by themselves. They reveal and strengthen the barriers that protect the people and the assets. The next, inspections do not create safety by themselves. They reveal and strengthen the barriers that protect the people and the assets. Our next slide will show this safety shield, the crew shield, and the commercial shield. And a RightShip-ready vessel is safer because hazards are anticipated, evidence is accessible, and welfare issues are acted upon. But how to transform compliance into tangible business asset? Compliance, if properly structured, generates value rather than merely absorbing cost. The three shields, which I mentioned before, function as an integrated system. Each is strengthening the others, and each is weakened by failures in the remaining two. For example, poor welfare drives operational exposure. Inadequate maintenance undermines commercial standing, and insufficient documentation erodes the ability to defend either. The RightShip questionnaire, and there are a lot, it's more than RightShip 3.0 has now 300 questions approximately. Protective method is anchored in 5 fundamental questions. The first one, is a vessel physically seaworthy? Are established procedures operationally effective? Do the crew members on board demonstrate a clear understanding of those procedures? Does the available evidence substantiate consistent application over time? And is the vessel actively integrating lessons drawn from the industry best practice? The detailed crew readiness handout, supported by the self-assessment and initiated by the owning, respectively, manager's company, to prepare the crew and turn the shield concept into evidence, into barriers, and behavior. The 3 points are visible when the safety management system on board is lived, and it's not only on paper. Based on these results and on the findings, RightShip can guide you to amend the present procedures on board in order to improve the safety of the crew and cargo and vessel. The areas shown for the navigation and the cargo operations, you can see them here on the slide. They connect the route safety, cargo protection, and the operational records, and the competence of the crew. These are evidence hotspots when there are inspections, and mostly detected by the RightShip questionnaire with probable negligence, and they might lead to critical failures. We continue with the deck operations and the enclosed spaces. Always very critical points, and the handout to the crew repeatedly links to the physical condition, the equipment limits, and the crew demonstration. So the RightShip officer comes, he wants to have it demonstrated by the crew. How do you operate this? He is checking the equipment. How are the limits? How much you lift up with your anchor, with your moorings and your cranes. As I said, this involves the anchoring equipment, mooring and winches, and the enclosed spaces, always areas which are accident prone. And you see, at least we had in our company as well, accidents which happens with winches or enclosed spaces. 1 minute. The preparation in the engine room is another critical area. Studying the permits, wearing the appropriate PPE, preventing fatigue amongst the crew, and thorough reporting will show the areas of preventing findings by the RightShip inspectors. All the previous mentioned key points convert the RightShip questionnaire into a vessel self-inspection routine, and the handout closes with a practical readiness rhythm, finding the gaps early, assign the owners, and verify the closeouts. The main visual concept of the shield model is what you see here on the screen. It is a layered design with a compliance baseline. The compliance baseline includes the ISM, the MLC, SOLAS, MARPOL, the RightShip questionnaire readiness, that you are ready to answer the 300 questions. Okay, it depends on the type of vessel as well, whether you have a tanker, a container ship, bulk carrier. And the crew welfare with evidence and a learning culture. So the companies should really focus on the crew welfare because it is now substantiated by the RightShip questionnaire. The shield works when the layers reinforce each other, as the RightShip questionnaire and crew welfare self-assessment are not separate programs. They contain two views of one operating system. When we speak about crew welfare self-assessment, this is a tool of RightShip, which is on their webpage. You can load, the crew member can load it down, and it has step-by-step processes. It contains 7 sections, fixed outcomes, and 3 improvement levels, supports annual action plans, and a completion badge on the RightShip vessel page. So this is when you really, as a ship-owning company, want to show as well how good your vessel has a standing in the market. It's very important as well that you see the badges of the crew. You can go through it, how many of the crew members went through the self-assessment. To examine the human layer of the shield, it requires assessing current practices, identify again the gaps, and show commitment to the crew welfare by the company. It shows the gaps that the company is not on the crew welfare. The practical evidence map supports the crews and shore teams to prepare. The exact crew welfare self-assessment questions should be checked against the latest version in the RightShip self-assessment questionnaire before you finally submit it. Is it still what is the latest that you are in compliance with the whole RightShip questionnaire? And it convert the welfare commitment into evidence that can be reviewed and improved. How can welfare become safer operations? I think this question every company should ask. If the crew is suffering fatigue, isolation, is afraid of retaliation, or is living in poor accommodation on board, or on board exists weak or even lacking proper communication between the crew, this will never become part of the welfare box, as it will affect the watchkeeping, the maintenance quality, and the overall operation of the vessel. Good welfare on board improves the attention of the crew, the trust of the crew, the reporting quality, because they will tell you what's going on, and emergency responses. So the crew feels much more available, able to really respond to emergencies. With the integration of the RightShip questionnaire and the crew welfare self-assessment into the technical safety and daily operations, we are avoiding 2 separate work streams. Make the technical safety and crew welfare readiness visible through a single register, and review cadence. The same evidence discipline supports the technical safety, the welfare assurance, and the commercial vetting. How long will it take us to prepare for the RightShip inspection? When the day really comes, the RightShip officer goes on board. How long we should prepare before? And this one is the pre-inspection roadmap, which can become the company's standard until the final inspection is there. From 60 to 30 days, we screen the risk by reviewing the previous RightShip audits, port state controls, flag state controls, to see where are gaps. From 30 to 14 days, we prepare the evidence. From 14 to 7 days, we target the vessel and the crew. And from the 7th day to the final inspection, you can send somebody on board to see is the crew and is the ship ready for the RightShip inspection. So we are verifying the readiness. Of course, the timeline can adjust to your own liking and to the availability of a trainer or of a superintendent, as well as to do with vessels, itinerary, and of course the risk profile of the vessel. By finding the gaps and the closeouts, we are strengthening the shield. The value comes after the inspection is done and includes the risk ranking, the verification, and improves the fleet learning. This slide shows the corrective action, the preventive actions, which should be owned by the shore organization and the vessel's leadership. Verification must include both the documented evidence and the practical onboard understanding. I'm bringing now our company a little bit in this picture. Here are, for example, some service packages which we as a company formalized to achieve the RightShip readiness on the fleet which we are managing, with the inclusion of a crew welfare support program. It is a structured service portfolio to close RightShip findings, prevent repeat observations, and strengthen crew welfare outcome. When you ever read a RightShip report, it's really interesting to see where you anticipated that the crew is ready, that the ship is in a good condition. Suddenly you see on the RightShip questionnaire, or when you go on board, oops, there are some major mistakes. How does Marine Training Solutions solve RightShip observations, respectively inspection results? Find the type of the observation out of the inspection result. Training response, which training has to be applied. See the evidence for the closeouts, review the training by physical attendance, review the records, carry out a root cause analysis. The target outcome should be on the crew side that they can explain and demonstrate and correct the records so the findings can be reduced or completely abolished would be better. It is important that this solution has to match the failure mode, the knowledge gap, the behavior gap, the evidence gap, the resource gap, or the system gap. We do not close any finding until the new behavior has been observed and the evidence can as well be retrieved. And here's the model of the training delivery. You can do it in a classroom style, either physically or remotely. You can have remote vessel clinics, short calls to the crew, to the master. On-board coaching, somebody can go on board, can coach the crew when they have some time and coach them. Or you send a micro-learning pack and you keep the training, the practical training, short modules, scenario drills, crew interviews, and evidence retrieval tests. Blend always the office preparation, the remote support, and onboard coaching, so the learning is close to the actual risk what the ship is facing. It is important that we mention that the goal is not to increase the training volume, which they have already quite some on board, but the aim is that the training is exactly where the RightShip results, near misses, and the welfare assessment shows exposure. So we come to the final slide, which shows the key takeaways of my presentation, which are: the RightShip questionnaire creates risk visibility. The crew welfare is a safety barrier. It functions like a physical shield, ensuring workers remain alert, focused, and capable of making critical decisions during emergency. The evidence protects the vessel. The records show control, accountability, close out, and learning. This shield must be maintained by all the parties involved, and you can do it and test it on a weekly, on a monthly, on a quarterly, or annual rhythm to keep as well the readiness on board alive, which is very important when the RightShip inspector comes. One phrase which I like is: we do not prepare for RightShip. We use RightShip to prepare safer vessels, protect the environment, enhance the condition of our seafarers, and make the voyage commercially beneficial for the entire supply chain. Closing this presentation and the shield metaphor, including my first question: what is your RightShip? And which barrier would you strengthen this month? Thank you very much for your attention.